right? I go in, I interview. There's 2 assistant sales managers, floor managers, right? Young guys. One of them's about this big around, one of them was this tall, about that skinny. They look like the number 10 standing next to each other, right? Kurt was probably 450 pounds and 5'8", and he was interviewing me, and Brett was interviewing me, and they were toying with me. What I didn't know is they were just playing with a mouse on the showroom floor, right? 2 cats found a mouse, and they were just toying with it. Kurt looked over and he said, "Little bear cub," he said, I think I could eat you for breakfast. And after about 10 minutes of this, I said, "You honestly look like you could eat anything for breakfast." I said, "I would like to work here and sell cars. What do you think?" And Brett looked over and they both said at the same time, "He's on my team," right? So fate is there, right? The aggression paid off. So that's Thursday. Fast forward to Monday. I show up with my best clothes, right? Polo boots, polo corduroys, shirt that doesn't match, a tie that doesn't match any of that, right? Because that's the best ideas I had at the time, right? So I go in, I'm like standing around, I'm looking for this tall beanpole named Brett Burt that hired me on Friday. No Brett. No Brett, right? Kurt comes walking up and he says, "Hey man, what's going on?" I said, "Well, you guys hired me on Friday." He said, "I didn't hire you." He said, "You insulted me, Brett hired you." And he said, "Your bad luck is that Brett didn't work anymore. He got a DWI last night and wrecked his car." So, welcome to the car business, right? I'm in it. 1994, right? This is the way things were, and maybe still kind of the way things are, right? So, fortunately, Kurt liked my attitude. He hired me, taught me some things, worked out kind of halfway. I struggled for 8-9 months, barely made a living, right? Got on. Found a friend, went to a used car lot, worked for him for a little while, went bounced back and forth, right? And so the struggle again, right? In automotive for probably 4 or 5 years at that point. I moved to Houston, met some great people that really loved me, really taught me how to sell cars, really gave me a place to really, really, really flourish, right? Creative environment with support and good people that knew how to sell cars. So off I went, 20, 25, 30 cars a month, right? But what we learned during this period is that those leaders, right, that had been in my life, the men, the women that had been in my life in those sales management roles, and those general sales management roles, and those F&I roles, not all, but a lot, drug addicts, alcoholics, womanizers, gambling addicts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So these are the mentors of the car business of the 90s, 2000s, and maybe today, right? So what I'm getting to is that we talk about we've got to have change. I've heard that 50 times in this conference. Subi's sitting right back here, and I just had a conversation. The time to change is past. The days of the old days they're over, right? Krusty the car dog with the Sanzabella pants that tells you he knows how to sell cars. I've been doing this since 1985, right? His day is gone, right? Those days are gone. So if the time to change is already passed, how do we change the culture? Okay, this isn't a guess, it's the reality. The only way to change the culture around you is to change you, right? You have to be the better person constantly and be the example to people around you so that they choose to follow your leadership path, right? Because as you get promoted through the car business, there are choices to make. There are factions to play in, right? There is a club. Now, we can pretend like there's not because there's corporate leaders around and this and that, but I've been in the good old boy club for a long time. And I got promoted faster, harder, stronger, better, made more money than everybody because I was in the club, right? And I wasn't in the club necessarily because I chose to make all the bad choices that those people make, but I was in the club sort of because I was of that veneer. I sort of had that in me, right? Well, a lot of those bad choices led to terrible choices. Right? Alcoholism for myself, a nasty, nasty divorce that set me off on a pathway that nobody should be on. Right? I wrecked my life, wrecked my family, wrecked my career, wrecked my time. Spent a lot of time destroying my own life because, honestly, if we can cuss here, fuck you, all hurt me. Right? I know I'm talented, so it really doesn't matter. Right? It's Toyotathon. I'll make 30 grand this month. Right? I run a big Toyota store. And the cool part about it is they've accommodated my reckless lifestyle by allowing me to come in at 11 and close every night because they know that I'm going to be drunk till 12, just hungover, worn out. So they'll allow me 11 o'clock schedule and a 1 hour extra to get that coffee and get my, get my movement going, right? Because I'm gonna sell cars. You can count on that, right? So the only way that I was able to change anybody around me in the future, like fast forwarding, was to really look and for lack of a better term for what an alcoholic would say, is hit a bottom, right? And you can hit a bottom as a workaholic, and I'm not even talking about from an alcoholic standpoint, but just from a personal bottom, right? You can just feel that, right? You can just go home one day and be like, this place sucks. That guy sucks. Like, I hate working here. I hate these people, right? But do we really hate those people? Do we not understand them? Or are we allowing them to dictate how we feel and look and live, right? And then if that's the case, then why aren't we changing the way that the future looks around the people with me? Why aren't we creating better factions, right? Well, maybe we don't know what our direction is because we haven't really chosen our true north or our path or our understanding of integrity about where we are, who we are as people, and then push people into that, right? I'll give you an example. We had a kid that came on to our dealership. This is a little bit off topic. This kid came on, he's Italian. I think he's a piece of crap, right? He's wrecked every dealership he's ever worked. Everybody that knows him hates him, but guess what he's got? What's he got? He's got talent. He's got talent. Oh, that kid leaves awake like a rooster tail 15 feet high, like a boat going 90 miles an hour in a marina. And just everything he touches is just rattling behind him, right? It's not my call. It's not my story. You want him, take it. I'm going to tell you right now, though, here's what's going to happen. And as it happens, I'm going to give you 2 of them, or you're going to give me up. Right? So that's where the integrity comes in. That's where the North Star comes in. I know the 5, 10 things this kid's going to do to wreck this place before he leaves. For sure, I'm telling you. Because we all know the kid. Right? Oh, I'm sober, I'm this, I'm that. This kid's a wreck. Right? Marriage is barely holding on, and that's probably only because his wife has some sort of god-awful self-esteem problem. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that these are healthy people, but we're allowing them into our businesses because we think they're going to make us money. Okay, well, how about, this is what I tell my dog when he's something dumb. How about no? Like, that guy can't work here. I don't need 10 car deals. Right? And if we do, I'll get on the phone. Because guess who else has talent? Me. And I've been doing it for 30 years, right? I made 1 million phone calls. I know I can make 10 more a day. So if we really need it, let's all grind out just a little harder, right? Sure enough, the kid wrecked 2 of the 5 things I said he was going to wreck, and what did we do? We let him go, right? Because if they didn't, I was leaving. And so I put my foot down from an integrity standpoint of saying, I won't participate in this very long, right? Because I don't need to make an ultimatum to the guy I work for, right? I don't need to push him to make a change right now. I just need to get him to listen to me. You just need to get your peers to listen to you. Just a little bit. And that's how you shift it. Right? Because if they're hearing you once and you're right, they're hearing you twice and you're right, they're hearing you 3 times and you're right, well, over time you've got a pattern of being right. Right? And so then people are going to start looking to you. And this is where we get into the leadership talk, right? Now people are looking to you, right? You're in a BDC, right?
Okay.
Is that true?
It was.
Okay. You were? Mm-hmm. Okay. When you're telling people to do the hard thing inside there, right? The extra calls or the script that's uncomfortable or the thing that doesn't seem to work, like you have to have proven some track record over time to go, I get that it's weird, however, watch. Right? Here's my past experience that shows this works. And it's the same thing with integrity, it's the same thing with justice, it's the same thing with truth, it's the same thing with pushing new ideas forward. So if you want to move forward, you have to be the person that pushes it forward. Because the guy on the hill that's up top with his glass wall up there, you guys know it's Mr. something Chevrolet, Mrs. something Ford, right? She doesn't, or he doesn't know what's going on, right? And they really don't care. Honestly, right? Until it gets to a survey, until it gets to a rep, a person, or it's a friend of his, or we really don't care. We're printing money, right? Printing money's fine. It is fun. But printing money and cleaning up problems isn't. And we've been cleaning up problems in this business that we've been creating for so long, right? So, how do we make these changes? That's the real key. Okay, so the one thing that I do know about change is the only way that it's going to work for you, for a business, for anything, is when we find some sort of injunction. Everybody know what an injunction is? When something, someone, or something puts something in front of you that affects your life in a way that you love or don't love, right? You fall in love, that's an injunction. You're in a car wreck, that's an injunction. I steal from you, that's an injunction. Right? We have something that's important, that's impactful, that happens, that we have to focus on in a way that makes us put real thought and real emotion into it. Because there's two things about thinking and about making decisions. Hey, I'm fat, I want to lose some weight. Okay. That's not an injunction, and it's not a decision. Right? It's an idea. I want to sell more cars, okay? No injunction, no emotion, no clarity of thought, no plan. It's just an idea, right? So you have to find an injunction of something. You have to be driven enough to have high clarity of thought about something and high emotion. Because the only way that things stick is when you have emotion attached to them. We just talked about it with Google and sales, and you want to get this, and Google drives this, and da-da-da-da, and it's an emotional process. Correct. Well, so are your decision-making processes for yourself, for your family, for your life, for the way you live, for the way you work, for the way you operate, the way you think, the way you breathe, the way you move, right? So, when you have a low clarity of thought, you usually have a high emotion, right? You walk in somebody's, line directly to a customer. Oh no, this truck will tow a $16 billion, and you're looking at, you have a high emotion. I don't like this person lying to this customer. This is not okay. What are they doing, right? Or you're in a car accident with your favorite car you just bought. High emotion. You broke my car! Oh my God! Right? You broke my car! High emotion creates real visceral action within your body. It physically changes the way your body works. It changes the way your brain functions. It changes the amount of blood that's flowing. It changes the amount of adrenaline. All the things inside your body change. So when you have a high emotional state, that's oftentimes a place where we make decisions. I'll give you an example. So let's take little Johnny. He's in 4th grade. Little Johnny's in 4th grade. His mom comes and says, "Sweetheart, we're going to have a big party. We just bought this new house. We have a swing set out there for you. It's going to be a great day. All your friends are coming. Your family's coming. It's going to be a great day. I just want you to be on your best behavior." Kid says, "No problem. Absolutely." Saturday comes. His Uncle Rocco and him are sitting on the couch. Uncle Rocco starts ribbing him a little bit. "Come on, Johnny, let's play a game." Little kid knocks over a vase. Vase falls over, spills over everywhere. Party stops. Mom grabs the kid and says, "I thought I told you to be on your best behavior." Grabs him, takes him upstairs, gives him a spanking. The whole place knows it, right? All his friends, his family, whatever. So what does Johnny? She says, "Sit there until you can be on your best behavior." Right? Until you can calm down. So this kid's sitting here. What's going on? Highly embarrassed. Right? High emotion. He's just been spanked, and his whole family, and the party, and all these things are going on. And so Johnny makes some decisions while he's in that high state of emotion, subconsciously. These are decisions we don't often know we make. And this is in the car business as well. We make these decisions over cash, over money, over products, over ideas, over integrity that we don't even know we're making. So mom comes and grabs Johnny and says, "Hey, you're calm down. Let's go downstairs. Let's have a great party. It's okay." So his cousin comes up and says, "Hey, I got a great idea. Let's go on the swing set. Forget about that. Let's go play." Well, what we don't know is that Johnny made a decision that playing caused his pain. Okay? So playing with his Uncle Rocco caused him to get a spanking. He was embarrassed, etc., etc. Johnny says, y'all go play. I'm going to go chill over here. Right? So this young, vibrant, happy kid has made decisions that playing costs him more pain than it's worth to have fun. So his decisions for this behavior is now moved over to here. So instead of Johnny being a cool, fun guy, all of his life, his decisions are based more in logic. Maybe he plays chess instead of playing basketball because they said, "Join the basketball team, it'll be fun." He hears fun, he's off his path. And so I'll explain this path for just a sec. Every injunction that we have creates behaviors. We write scripts for those behaviors. And with all of those scripts, that becomes our life. So this is a very, very intense drawing. It took me many hours. Yeah. So this is your path. And this is not necessarily a pathway to victory, a pathway to success. This is just your pathway of emotion. Okay? And oftentimes in the car business, we've decided that you can do things or allow people to get away with things on this path that we don't like, but we've decided as a result of the injunction of our paycheck or not having other choices Well, whatever the case it is that got us into this car business, right? You're a failed roofer, right? I thought it'd be okay to do these things, to let these things go, to move forward, because this is the way I was taught. This is the script I was run, right? When I'd go to a sales manager and give them a folder and it was missing a driver's license, that folder would go flying across the showroom floor with a couple of F-bombs and bring me another deal like this and blah, blah, blah. So that's an injunction. Now I know that I need a driver's license in every folder. So sometimes they work, right? But they're not very good. But
yeah,
so
that doesn't work. They still come with no driver's license.
Yeah, for sure. Of course they do. It worked for 3 days. So I want to talk about this for a second. But when we're off our pathway, the pathway is the things that we've decided feel okay to us, right? Food is good, even if it's in excess. Drinking liquor too much is good, even if it's in excess. Doing these problems are okay because everybody does it around it. I've made these decisions okay. Lying to customers, da-da-da-da-da. Whatever that is, you're on your path and you feel okay about it. There's probably not a lot of emotion involved in it. You're just tootling along through your day. When you get off that path, right, then you feel fear, anxiety, guilt, remorse, depression, whatever, right? And so we stay on our path of problems and bad behavior because that's just where it's easy going, right? The car business is fucking car business, guys. Come on, it's car business. What do you mean, like, car business, man? So a car with a check engine light. If they call them back, they go, fucking car business, man. It's okay. Bought a used car, folks. You bought a used car, right? Breaks in half. You own both halves. Remember when you signed this contract, sir? You're an owner, right? So those things feel okay to people still. Because they've made belief systems that these are the way that it is, right? If you did that at Nordstrom's, as we heard an example today, how long would you work at Nordstrom's? Not very long, right? Forget even if you just missed getting the tires back to the guy or the money for the tires. You just tell them, hey man, get out of here. How long do you work at Nordstrom's?
You walk out with him.
Yeah, correct. So why is it okay at Bob Langley Chevrolet? Well,
because you're a 30 car guy.
That's right. So you've got to learn to be the change. And the best way to make the change is to really sit down and try to figure out if you're really upset about this enough, or are we just spinning wheels about how to change, right? Because we can come to a conference and shit, this feels good. We can talk about change. Oh, it feels good. Oh, we need to change. Yes, we do. So the question that I have for you is, what are you going to do to change the behaviors around you? And how are you going to change yourself and your belief system? That's really the challenge. So if you can find enough of a will inside yourself to spend time to really chew on it, think on it, pray on it, whatever you want, conversate with it about it, and find a high vibrational feeling inside yourself enough that, man, I just don't want this to be this way. And I really feel upset about it enough, or annoyed enough, or it's really a concern for me that I'm going to make an emotional decision to change. And I'm willing to accept that as I do this, I'm going to be off my normal pathway. And so I'm going to feel discomfort. I'm going to get pushed back. Maybe I get fired. Maybe I move. But there is a place for you, right, within these systems to be that person of change and to be the leader inside your store. And I promise you, as you start to do that, I promise you, that the attraction, just the simple law of attraction, right? There's the law of reciprocity in the Bible. There's all these different principles, right? It's simple. You reap what you sow, right? If you're sowing goodness, you're sowing integrity, you're sowing honesty, you're sowing hard work and dedication, then it'll come back to you. And as you're doing that, encourage the people around you to do the same thing. All right? That's it.
Awesome.
Is that fair?
I really love the piece about managing up.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, you didn't say that,
Yeah.
those words, right?
Yeah.
But when you were sharing about not putting the hard line
Yeah.
with the guy that you knew was going to mess up.
Yeah.
Right? You knew that he was going to be toxic in the workplace.
Yeah.
You know, I just thought that was really great.
Well, thank you.
I think a lot of people are in that position
Yeah.
and don't know how to navigate that.
It took me a long time, you know, because I'll be honest, I spent, you know, look, I grew up in a big Chevy store. We were good people. Like, I really did grow, like, my career around good people.
Good people
You know.
do shitty things.
Sure they do. I mean, what was odd is that most of the shitty things they did to themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like my owner, well, not the owner, but the GM of our store that I was at forever, owns 6 rooftops now. This is a kid that was orphaned out of San Antonio. I mean, when I say earned 6 rooftops, I mean, he earned 6 rooftops. He didn't have 2 nickels to rub together when he got out of high school. Not 2 nickels. So it is possible to get there, right? And he knew though. I mean, I remember bringing him a car deal that, man, I was a salesperson or an assistant, I can't remember at the time. I worked this car deal for 4 or 5 hours till the late hours of the evening. I remember this deal because we made a whole thing out of it because I ate the first pencil. Like literally ate it in front of the customer. Like we were wild, having fun. And I'm a wild character when I sell cars. Like I've got this brash personality. I get away with saying things other people don't get, but none of it's mean or offensive, you know. And I said, look, man, this offer expires today because it's 10:30. I said, I'm starving. And if you can't give me a yeah right now, then I'm just going to have to eat it because I'm starving. He's like, yeah, right. So I just ate the paper. And he laughed so hard that it changed the process. He said, I'll take it. Right? So my energy got the deal, but his better thought later on caught up with him and he wanted to back out. So I told him, listen, man, we gave this guy a real deal. I'm fighting for the deal, for me, for the salesman, whatever. And he goes, hey, look, what's his address? I said, I don't know. He said, well, go find out. So I go find out. We're in the Woodlands, Texas, in Houston, right? We're just right outside. So I go find out. I go look. And I said, I don't know. He's at 16 Treasure Cove. And he goes, yeah, what's his zip code? And I told him, he goes, what's my zip code? I go, yeah. The guy goes, no, what's my zip code? I said, it's the same zip code. He goes, right. He goes, I'm not pissing off my neighbors. And we're not pissing off our customers. I don't need the 10 grand. Go get him his trade. And it was like, okay, right? I got it, right? So injunction, something hits me, right? The experience, the care for your customers is more important than the money. It might not be to me, like, might not be to you. What if this is this kid's only car deal this month and it's his rent? I know it, I'm fighting for it. Just don't think I won't, right? I always fight for salespeople, always. That's who makes you the money. I've had so many sales managers, I've literally had people, and I shut up for a long time about this. I had a friend of mine used to say, treat salespeople are like cattle. And I remember him saying that. And this is a guy that I loved, he cared about and worked for a long time. I heard him say it a couple times. And over the course of a couple years, as like our careers sort of evened out, because he was my boss for a long time, he said that somewhere, and I said, that's probably the ugliest thing I've ever heard you say. Because I've heard you say some really ugly shit about people over our times, because we were drinking buddies, so heard a lot of shit out of his mouth. And I said, it's just not fair, David, to talk to people like that, about people like that make you a living. And I told him, and he'll tell you today that this is an injunction that got him to the next level. I looked at him and I said, that's why you've been doing this for 22 years and you're not a GM. I said, the only person you ever pulled up in your whole career was me. Yeah. And we had a long talk, a long silence after that. And he chewed on it, he swallowed it, and he fixed it. And now he's a GM of a Hyundai store, right? But it took time to get to that point for him to figure it out, right? Because that's some bullshit he heard from some other dude that had some other bullshit bad idea from some other guy that had some bullshit bad idea from the 70s, right? And so if you want to be the change and you want to be a leader in your store and you want to move forward, you got to be aggressive. It helps to have some talent. But like Joe said, you can just outwork everybody. Those guys that sell 45, they've got talent, some kind of charisma, and they outwork everybody. I know because I've sold 42 in a month. I know. And I do have some kind of charisma that works for me. I'm not saying that it's special. I just have some kind of thing that people laugh along with for whatever reason, right? I'm also fat. So, you win some, you lose some, right? You don't get everything. But I have a little bit of that. But we all do.
You're
Everybody's
an
got
amazing storyteller.
Oh, thank you.
Right? You're a great storyteller. And I love that the story that you just told.
Yeah.
And I think I really like it because what it said to me is you will only get so far if you continue to dehumanize. Like, literally dehumanize.
Well, that's where we're at as a business. That's where we're at as a business. And I hate to tell people, it's over.
And bucket
Like,
people. We
sorry.
put people in buckets. Right? Like, we've learned to do that, to check the box. And,
Yeah, well, listen, and it's not every, and I want to be fair to everybody. It's not Maybe others have a different opinion. I don't think it's the car business's fault that customers hate us or whatever. I think there were some faults a long, long time ago, right? But those faults still exist in other businesses too. You know what I mean? Like if you want the truth of it, right? I mean, there are other products that you don't know a price on. I look for stuff on the internet all the time, call for pricing, this and that. Well, when I see call for pricing on a dealership, what does that mean? Well, as a dealer, as somebody that does these things for a living, I know one of two things. So these people are full of shit, or this car's not here yet, maybe, right? And the DMS has pulled it, and it's got a nod about it.
Sold / not a, it's not a baby.
Right.
Whatever.
It's not. It's definitely not a car that's there on the ground today.
Or there's someone you don't do business with.
Right. Or it's some kind of shenanigan. Yeah. Or it's some kind of shenanigan. Right? So, but why don't other businesses get the flack they do? Because it's not as important to them, because it's not as high of an emotional purchase.
Well, it's not emotional, but also there isn't so much history and talk about how to buy a car, and car dealers are evil and they're out to get you, and don't take these bullshit fees and all of this stuff. There's an entire segment of like information. Nobody says go to Macy's and negotiate on the price for the Coach purse.
Thank you. You can't go to
But you also know nobody goes to Macy's and pays full price. You take a coupon.
Right. So what's the difference, right?
So why, and then you have the Tesla customers who are bought into the Tesla model, and they know they can't negotiate, they're never going to talk to a human, and they're super excited to pay whatever price they end up with, because it's not the price they ordered the car at.
Right.
Because every week they log in and the price keeps going up.
Correct.
And they're completely happy about it. But the same thing happens. You order a car, the model year changed, you come in, MSRP, we told you we'd sell you the car at MSRP, no markup.
Right.
You come in and MSRP is $8,000 more on an Audi. Ooh!
Right.
Like you don't have the money in the bank. And you're angry about it and you want a discount. If this was Tesla, you wouldn't be having this conversation.
You're also tying in the trade, right? So our business has inherent problems.
Which Tesla doesn't deal, like you evaluate your trade on their website, you get whatever they gave you, they don't even look at the damn thing and they're just like, ship it down the street.
You get what you get, don't throw a fit. So, you know.
And they were talking earlier about CarMax. If you go over 7 days, because they're talking about like late lease, you go over 7 days, they have a $1,000 drop no matter what, company policy.
Right.
Over 7 days, your offer is $1,000 less.
Those offers don't always stand. I mean, you know, you can take your car to CarMax, they have a perception of kindness and all that stuff, but you can take a car to CarMax that's been misdescribed, and it's definitely a different offer. I mean, Carvana, all that stuff too, you know, they come out to inspect your car just like your insurance company does, and they go, oh, well, this isn't, what did you mention this, and the tires, and, you know, $2,000 off. It's no different than what anybody else does. And so I think there's inherent problems. I think where we missed the boat on leadership as an industry was not the things that we've talked about here, like the simple branding, the philanthropy, the kindness that we've given. Tesla has a game that they're playing that we're saving the world by you driving my car. Okay, fine, right? Believe that, don't believe that, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether the science is real or the science is bad, I don't care, it's not a conversation for today. But they've told a story that gave people the belief to buy it, right? Well, if Hyundai's brand was, we're gonna save these kids, that was their brand, right? Like, yes, Toyotas are $995 off today. However, let me tell you more about this mission that we're really, really, really deeply involved in. This is why we're selling cars to save these kids, okay? If we played that game, then I guarantee you Hyundai would be the #1 car maker in the world, right? But we don't lean into the kindness and the goodness. And that's why the podcast that I have, the Steve Fucile Show, go to YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, please. And that's how to grow our business. It's important. Tell your friends. I need 10. So I do pay referral fees. It's very, very cheap, though. No, but if those were the things we were leaning into, and that's why I built this show, is so that we can lean into the good ideas and the good people in the world. Because the car business isn't going away.
Right.
I mean, it's going to go away for a lot of people, but it's not going away. You know, if I build a store in 2 years and put my name and hang my shingle, I can sell used cars for the next 20 years, right? I don't know if people can sell new cars for the next 20 years. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. I don't know. You know, I think there'll be some high-level, good-hearted, kind and people of integrity that worked hard to put themselves in position through education that'll be the new leaders of our business, right? And it won't be Krusty the Car Dog throwing your folder across the room. Well, thanks for coming. Any questions? Any questions?
What would your opinion be on
Joe Webb? That
on the huddle? And we've heard a couple of people talk about the huddle. How do you kill the huddle?
On your showroom floor?
Yes.
I mean, you gotta give people something to do. And I think you should reduce staff by half, is what I think. I think we have a system that's stupid, if you want the truth of it. I think that you take, let's take a showroom floor of 20 people, okay? I think that you take 10 of those people that are high CSI, excellent salespeople with good processes, right? Real salespeople, good people you would want in your store. I think you take those people and you pay them exceptionally well to be incredibly hardworking salespeople. I think you take some of that staff budget and you move that over, and then you take some people that are, I don't want to call it runners or product presenters or whatever the case may be, but helpers in a way, right? That are the generation of the next delivery specialists, right? Whatever you want to call it, and you help those people to help implement the process and change that, right? So if you're the best on the phone and I'm the best on the phone, why do you have me out here taking pictures? Let me answer the phone. That's what I murder. Let me tell you something. I pick up a phone call and there's a real human being on there that's happily interested in the car deal. Let me tell you something. I'll have them driving from Washington State. I promise you, I am a hammer on the phone. People love me on the phone. They get here and they're like, I don't like that guy. But put me on the phone where I'm good and put players in position to win, right? And I don't mean a BDC. I mean, that's your salesperson, right? But let that BDC back them up, right? Like assign those people help.
That's how we have our system, where our leads come directly to our salespeople.
Yeah.
And then we're the backup, we're the ones that call
Yeah.
afterwards.
I think that's the smart way to do it if those salespeople are responsible and you have the right people. And then you have those, so I think it's a helper system. It's like an ecosystem of help, right? Like if you had a kid that was out there taking pictures or whatever the case, a kid, a grown man, who whatever it is, right? That was his job, and I could text him, hey bro, can you pull 65435 and get me a video real quick or whatever, you know? And they send that video out, and I just hit that video with a text, or whatever the case may be. The kid pulls it up, and we get out there and do the, hey, blah, 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 let me show you this car. I know you just called me. Whatever the case may be, we can step our game up a little bit, sell more cars for more profit with people that care about us. It's not that difficult. It's just really not. I know because I do it in my store. Right? We sell 60 cars a month with 4 old crusty car dogs, and our reviews are insanely amazing. Except for 10 of them, and those people will tell you we are the worst people on the planet.
But you're not real if you don't have them.
Yeah. I mean, and those are used cars that we couldn't help. We don't know. You know, I mean, I got a guy buys a used car from us that we buy from the sale. The car looks perfect, no wreck on the Carfax. He gets a bump on his car, takes it over to the body shop 15 months later and says, look at this car, it's destroyed. You know, it's some kind of, clearly the car was hit. Like, well, how do I know?
I
you know what I mean? Like, there's no damage.
It's not my reason you got, not my fault you got to bring the car back.
Right. You don't see people saying we lied to you, right? I mean, there's car problems. Look, I sell used cars, man. You know, I sell diesel trucks with 180,000 miles. If you think I'm not going to sell one a month that's going to have a problem, wrong. Yeah, probably 4 a month are going to
That's
have a
why I
problem.
like some people. It's a used car. It's going to have some scratches. It's going to have some dents.
Yeah.
It's going to be a few bumps in the road.
Yeah.
And if that's not what you're looking for, then maybe you should look into
Right.
well, what's good what they'll do. So then how's
Correct.
this your car?
Right. Yeah, listen, it's okay if you don't want to buy this
I don't have a bill.
$45,000 truck you're going to build a business with. I can show you a 2022 with 35,000 miles on. I have it right here. It's $94,685. Are you interested? No, I can't afford that. Great. Let me show you a car that you might be able to afford, sir. Like, you know, and we do kindness, respect them up. But, I mean, that's what you
There's 3 sides of the triangle. You got price, options, miles. You can't have all 3.
Well, I mean, and that's what Grant Cardone said, right? So one of the greatest closes I ever heard in my life, I'll tell you this story real quick and I'll be done. I was listening to Grant Cardone 20 years ago. Somebody gave me a CD, and I put it in at lunch. I was driving around, did what I did, came back. I'm listening to this on the way back. I'm hearing this close. Guy, so I walk into the showroom floor. My buddy David, same guy that I told him wouldn't be a GM, calls me and goes, hey, go talk to this guy. I was like, I hadn't even made it in. I, you know, like, put my food down, walk over. Hi, Mr. Johnson, Steve Fucile. Nice to meet you. I'm the sales manager. What can I help you with? Blah, 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 blah. And I Literally the exact same situation that I just listened to Grant tell me. Like 5 seconds before that, I was like, oh, let's see if this works, right? And it's just the old system, the same system. Look, you want to be at $495 a month, sir? I understand we're at $595 a month. What you're telling me is that you have the right car, right? You're on the exact car you're looking for. It's a Chevrolet Suburban. It's got the 7 seats. It's got all the things you told me that it has. But where we're having a difference at is $100 a month, which looks like this. Here's the window sticker. You said you had to have the LT. That's $2,600 a month. You had said you had to have the sunroof and the 6-power. You wanted the Bose, sir. That's $395. I'm writing that down. Sir, if you look at this total, that's $2,954. Well, that equates to 60 months and exactly $104.13. So you've got the right car and the right payment. The difference is we're trying to figure out how to pay for the options that you say you want, not need. So I've got 3 options. You can just give me $2,900, call it a day, your payment's $495, right? We could extend your term out a little bit if your credit's good enough to do that, right? And that could reduce some of the payment. Or we can do a combination of those two. We can go find you one that doesn't have the options that you want. That's exactly $495 a month for you. That'll work perfectly. Or I can go find you a 2021 pre-owned certified car with about 22,000 miles on it. I've got a black one over here. And that'll be exactly what you want with the right payment and the thing. Which one of these 3 options do you want?
Correct.
I don't know what's an extended term look like. Let me go show you, sir. I'll be right back. And now you got a car deal, right? Because it's just logic. It's simple math, but we've got to put it in terms to folks that they understand. And that's why those stickers are important, and that's why being a transparent, fully disclosure, fully understanding salesperson helps you get there. Because if you've done the work out there, well, sir, you remember when we went the window sticker? That's the $1,850.95 a month. That's. But if you never showed him that, he didn't know. Right, so if you did the work up front, then you have the backbones to solve it. So.
Which is why you have a process that you follow.
Correct.
And when your salespeople don't follow it, you can't go back on the process.
Correct. Correct. Cool.
Right.
Good stuff.
I appreciate that.
What did I miss? Everything. What did I miss?
Just me talking. Ain't about that great story. Appreciate it.
But we didn't get to find out about why you washed your car.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, okay. Fair enough. I did lie. All right. So Joel Flores, I'm an E-Lead rep. Fast forward 10 years, whatever. I work for E-Lead CRM. Travel around the country and sell e-desk for a living, right? McAllen Toyota of Texas is doing an install. Me and my buddy Dan Dillingham are in charge of this. I pull up to McAllen Toyota, I look over and there's this little Hispanic dude with this badass mustache, and I'm like, that's Joel Flores. So I remember this dude from 1994 telling me I'd wash cars for him. I remember telling him that he'd wash my car. I remember his face 2AT. We're talking, he was like, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, I got a demo, right? Because we got to move around, right? No reason to rent a car. We're at a car dealership. So we have a demo, right? So I purposely got it dirty that week. And, oh yeah, for sure. And so went out to GM, took as much mud I could, whatever, I just made this car filthy. And it was like, we were there usually Monday through Friday, and we left Friday morning, so it's like Wednesday afternoon. And I walked over to Joel and said, hey brother, I said, do you mind doing me a favor, man? I said, would you get this car washed for me? I said, it's filthy, I don't want anybody to see it. He's like, yeah, sure, of course, man. So he takes it over there, this car wash, he comes back, and I said, hey man, really, really, really appreciate that. I said, do you remember 1994 when you were at Apple Toyota? And he goes, how the fuck you know I was at Apple Toyota? I said, well, do you remember a young kid probably wearing clothes that didn't match and looked at you and told you, fuck you, you're gonna wash my fucking car one day? And he goes, that's you, motherfucker! And he started laughing, and we've been friends ever since. But yeah, so Joe washed my fucking car.
That's wonderful.
Hey man. But you know what? If he wouldn't have told me that, I might not have been hungry enough to make it work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I'm hyper competitive. You saw me on the kickball field.
Tell me I'm not going to do it, what?
yeah. Don't tell me I can do something.
So are you at a store or are you with a vendor now?
No. I'm not a vendor. So I have my show that we're building, and I'm a GM at Auto Source in Texas. GSM, GM, whatever it doesn't matter. Whatever you want to call it. I buy cars, I sell cars. I'm helping up now. We do the whole thing. So we have 2 other guys that sell cars for us. It's good. It's very, very, very nice being an independent. Like, yeah, we open at 10, we close at 7, life is good.
Oh. Well, you said you worked in Independence, so.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but I mean, I was in franchises for 15 years.
You said you do what, about 60?
Huh?
How many cars y'all do a month?
60, 80, depends on, how inventory is. When up until about 2 months ago, we were doing 65, 75, 80, something like that. But, man, I hadn't been able to buy a truck in 2 weeks. I literally haven't been able to find a truck I can
Hell,
buy.
you can't get a 2500 because the Dodge can't sell the new ones because they're all on stop sale still.
I know.
You drive.
I can't find a 7-year-old Dodge with 160,000 miles I can buy, which I'm hyper interested in.
True.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, it's food time, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, this is the dog's gonna go. I might see him again.
I'm done drinking.
No, no.
What? I don't feel great. That was hot. Yeah. I ate like that.
She doesn't have it.
Who?
Joe. He texted me this morning, like, get ready to talk, bring it up. Get ready to speak.
He's prepared. He prepares. He does work.
Hey,